Okay, guys, hi. It's really cool to see you all. Can you hear me well? Just could you react on the chat if you can see me well? You can hear me well. Okay, my colleagues say it's fine. Okay, so once again, welcome all here. It's really cool to see you. Today, we're going to talk about digital transformation in companies. If you ever wondered how it actually looks like from the business perspective and how it should look like, how the process should look like, what are the key trends of digital transformation in companies? We are going to know this all from this episode of our webinars. Just a quick reminder to actually first is this is one of the episodes of our series of our cool webinars on IT and technology. And the second one is this webinar is recorded, so you will have a copy of the recording after the meeting. Another one, which you might probably not know, is that you can generate yourself a certificate that you were on this on this conference. If you have any questions about it, just don't forget, you can always ask us on Facebook if something is wrong. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce Mr. Dawid Pawlik, who is here with me in the studio. He will talk about it. He actually knows onions about digital transformation, as he has vast experience in this area. So welcome, my dear colleague. Dawid, the floor is yours. You may start.
Okay, hi guys, my name is Dawid Pawlik, and today we are talking about the digital transformation. So what does it really mean? So let's begin. Okay, so this is how the agenda looks for today. We are going through defining what digital transformation really is and how to stay relevant to the market. We will then look at the myths and fears about it, and then we will think about the budget control. And at the end, we will discuss things that can make your digital transformation successful. Okay, so when you look around, you might think that we are living in this age of technology, and it has been with us for so many years that every company is already digitally transformed. So let's see if that is the truth. And today we are going to cover the topics of digital transformation, Industry 4.0, and Internet of Things. So I know that there are some misconceptions regarding those topics. So to avoid any confusion, let's clarify what does they mean and how they are connected. Okay, digital transformation, and I want to emphasize this, it's a process. And this process is not about the technology, it's about the people, really. So there are 4 types of digital transformation, and it's about changing the people mindset about the things and the ways they are conducting their businesses. So it's about let's build and create new capabilities that didn't exist before. Let's think how we can conduct business in those areas that were never possible to do in the previous years. So those types of digital transformation are focused on business process, business model, domain, and culture and organizational changes. So IT, of course, is playing the important role driving the digital transformation and, well, makes things possible, but the implementing of this strategy falls to everyone. And when I'm talking about the business processes, when I'm talking about the business models, I'm talking about the companies like Airbnb, like Uber, and well, those are the obvious examples of this, but you may also never heard about the IKEA or Domino Pizza. What's really cool And what's really fun to know is that Domino Pizza is really the frontier of the changes regarding the also in the IT industry. For example, you can order a pizza using Twitter or Slack, and well, they are using all the technology that is there to make their businesses grow. So last time I've checked, they've built some delivery car that has an oven inside of it, so they can deliver better, and you can use their app just to make sure your pizza is warm. They can heat up the pizza in the car. So they are using those tools, they are using those technology just to make their big business grow. But well, digital transformation is about the people. It's about changing their mindset. So we use the technology, and I'm going to show you how. We are now in something we call the Industry Revolution number 4, which means there were at least 3 of them before. So the first Industrial Revolution was about the water, about the steam, about innovations that enabled the large-scale manufacturing. The next was about the mass production and assembly line. It comes with the fourth creativity. The third one was about the automation. And well, basically we all know it because of the machines, the robots that working there. But Industry 4.0, it's a relatively new concept. It has been with us for about a couple of years, about 5 or 6 years, really. It's sped up and it's still expanding. So it's about translating data into information. So previously, we had the data, the raw data, and this data is processed so that we have a meaning around the data. And at the end, it comes as an information, and this information we can display, we can then analyze it further, and then predict the future trends and plan the production. So Industry 4.0 uses digital transformation as a mechanism. And the digital transformation is changing the mindset. The Industry 4.0 is using that mindset and using the technology. And what is the technology? Well, among others, there is Internet of Things. So Internet of Things is, to simplify it, it's like the toys, it's like the gadgets that we are using right now. And everybody knows about the consumer IoTs. So it could be your fitness tracker, it could be your, I don't know, smart fridge that can alert you when you are empty of your eggs or anything you want to store there. Of course, there are some things like Alexa or Google. Basically, all the concept of smart home. That's the consumer IoT. But there is also a commercial IoT, and it's about the office buildings. It's about the supermarkets, stores, hotels, and well, the application for those places vary from, I don't know, monitoring the environmental conditions or to provide you with the better experience as a guest in a hotel or a restaurant. So just to summarize it, it's about the smart buildings, smart offices. It's about making your stay in the hotels better. And there are also the third point of it. It's industrial IoT. And this industrial IoT, it's not a new concept. It begins in the third industrial revolution. Basically, I don't know if you're from IT or business, or maybe you have worked in the factory or in plants. So the very bottom layers you probably don't know if you're IT. You don't know much about it. But basically, they are collecting the information at the field level. So those kind of information are going up and up into our ERP systems for planning. And if you're IT guy, you probably know ERP solutions. So you know how to use them. You can plan the production. You can see the reports. You can forecast the future. The next level of it would be just to move to the cloud and then connect all the factories, all the plants that you have in your business. And those devices are meant to talk with each other. I mean, every layer has to send the information to the layer above, and then we can really precisely know what is going on with the production, what is needed, what is really significant right now, what is going on with the market right now with our production. So the concept of using IoTs in Industry 4.0 is just using the data in real time. So that's the main reason to use IoTs right now, and creating this one environment that all the layers can send the information, and then we can forecast and plan the production. So I have one example from our company. We have this project for quite a while, and basically the company, the foundry, has came to us and said, well, we have some pieces of information here and there, but well, we don't have this real-time data. We don't really know about the things that are going on in our factory in real time. So before we were using Excel file just to upload some information and then download some information and then upload it for planning, for logistics, etc. But right now, our goal is to build the bridges, and our goal is to just make this environment working so we can forecast the future needs and look at the market, look at the trends, and then try to make this production in line with our needs. So there's an important question about how to stay relevant in the market in this time. So I'm going to give you some background for better understanding what we are dealing with. This slide represents the Digital Transformation Index. And basically, in Poland, we are part of the European Union, and the European Commission has been monitoring its member states on digital progress through that index. So those reports are being made since 2014, and it represents the things that are going on with our economy. So the current pandemic has shown that how important the digital assets have become to our economy. And well, as you can see, we are in the middle of this change, and well, basically we still need to improve in some areas. So digital public services, from the graph you can see that they are going pretty well. Integration of digital technology, well, it needs improvement. The human capital, it really needs to improve, because on the market there is a need to have the skilled people that have at least basic understanding of IT, because it's important to have this in order to become the digitally transformed company, to have those employees that have the best understanding of IT and how to use the technology. So As regards of the integration of digital technology, you can see in the business activities, Poland ranks pretty good among the other European countries. I would like to point it out the things that we are selling more and more online, and there is room for improvement for selling online across the border. So for small and medium enterprises, it's pretty good, but they need to expand, they need to grow their markets outside their current scope, outside this local market. They would need to sell online more, they would need to sell services and products online, but I would think that I would recommend that they would focus doing it cross-border. And well, how huge market is outside your local market? Well, basically, customers are all over the world. So you can see that Asia, you have millions of users, internet users, which means they are potentially your customers. And well, I would consider Asia as a pretty close market, especially China. It's very hard to conduct business there without, other things, the political things in mind also. So I don't want to go into the details, but you can clearly see that Europe is going pretty good as a potential customer of yours. And well, you can always seek for the new market based on the trends, based on this ability to make your business grow based on the information about the users of internet. And it's funny to know that the population of China is relatively smaller than the population of Facebook users, so at least twice. And as I can see it, I'm seeing through the glasses of the potential customers, potential business partners. So there are powerful tools, the social media, and well, how we can use them to be useful for us and to grow our business. As you can see, Facebook users, the population is huge, so they have the Facebook passport. And if you are going to introduce the new service or the new product, I think you need to know that the Facebook is a powerful platform. So first of all, some of the applications are working specifically on Facebook only. Some are very connected with the Facebook. So if you want to conduct the business, if you want to grow your business, you have to incorporate also those platforms in your strategy. YouTube users, WhatsApp users, well, huge market. That's the powerful tools. But well, how we can use it? For me, the digital trust is very important. So you can spend quite a few coins on that, and it always pays. So remember how Amazon treats their customers. I remember when I bought my Kindle product, the customer service was really good, and well, it was like the good example of how you can be consumer-centric, how you can sell the product, how you can provide the support for it. And that builds the digital trust, that builds the trust in your company, in you, and by using those platforms, you can really build your trust wisely. So remember the scandals, remember the data leakage, the data theft. A few days ago, I don't know, 2 or 3 days ago, the Garmin case. So that was a huge scandal right now. And well, it's hard to win the customers when they don't trust you, when there is some kind of bad behavior around your company. And how to win the customers? Well, the influencers are good. So as you can see, plenty of people are doing the business based on influencers, based on building that trust. Because one thing is just to invite somebody to the table and look him in the eye, shake hands, talk, and the other thing is by going just to meet them on Slack, chat with them, or sending emails, or through Skype or other applications. So it's important to know that we build that trust based on what we are putting on our social media pages. So every company should be careful about what they are posting and how could be read with your how the post could be read by your potential customers. They are using mobile devices, so also you need to remember about putting the information the way that they are really readable on the mobile devices. And I found some study that around 78% of people have the purchases decisions influenced by what the companies are putting on the social media. So recommendations are very important. You can do it by hiring the skilled people on your department, or by just seeking for the contractors as influencers. And about the revenue, so you can clearly see that it's about the 10% growth in EBIT in 5 years. So it's a really good indicator that you need to have those platforms on your board. So you have to play safe, but spend the money wisely, but try to include those social media in your strategy. It pays. Okay, the next thing is green IT. So I don't know if you remember, it's not a new topic. It's been with us for many years. We had devices that had a logo with green star. So at the beginning of this computerization and digitalization, there was a huge focus on how we can make the environment better, how we can get rid of waste. And one of the reasons to go into this digitalization process, which means get rid of the paper, bring up the computers, bring up those devices, was just to taking care of the planet, taking care of the environment. However, if you look at the statistics about the e-waste, it's not very good. It's growing rapidly, and the recycling rate is very poor from my perspective. So you have to remember that all those gadgets, all those devices that you have in your factory, IoTs, at some point they are being used, they are not up to date, you have to get rid of them. So please take under consideration about how your company can recycle those devices. It's very important. At the other hand, which I don't have this on the slide, but there is another kind of waste. It's about the data bias, and it's about the information flood and other distractors. So there are hundreds of kilobytes and megabytes and gigabytes of information that are produced, but you've never heard of them, and they are just waste. From this physical perspective, they are using the storage. From this other perspective, like we are producing very high amount of waste. Okay, now there is another misconception about the digital transformation, and basically it's occurring all over again every few years. The people are afraid of losing their jobs, and yep, for some cases it could be a problem. However, the digital transformation is about the people, it's about education, it's about conducting new businesses, new business models, and using the technology. So when you are educated, when you want to improve yourself, when you want to be relevant in the market, in the job market, you have to educate yourself. And as a company, you have to have skilled workers, because some jobs, yeah, they're gonna to be removed. But at the other hand, you have plenty of jobs that the business are creating, and most of them are based on your digital skills, on your IT skills. And well, we have a large population of people that have those skills, and they are highly paid workers. However, I've looked at the data in Europe, and well, it's about 58% of people that have at least basic digital skills. So the rest of them, not very well at doing this. So there is a huge gap. There are still lack of basic digital skills. Well, even though the most jobs require such skills. So there are plenty of people that need to be educated, and as a company, I would encourage, if you are a business owner or employer, to educate your people, especially when you plan to shift the company and move into the process of digital transformation. So if you have places that you can share knowledge, maybe you post it on the chat, and well, that would be the good example of how we can find the sources of good knowledge. Maybe you know some places that we can look for information, for knowledge. The next fear is artificial intelligence. So, of course, the next wave of digitalization is creating the new possibilities in AI, but there are other technologies like blockchain, automation. And regarding the AI, funny thing is that Europe was a pioneer. And for example, the first autonomous car was produced by Mercedes. It was like in 1987. So the concept of AI it's not new, it's old, and it's still growing. And for some quite of time, Europe was the leader of it. Then it shifted into the China and US, but right now, well, regarding the startups and AIs and using of AIs, Europe is really going to be the first in this race. And well, how important is AI? So in every business, my personal view is that in every business you need some kind of artificial intelligence, and it gives you a boost. So the investment in AI are booming, and for example, in those industries, you have to have the AI in order to be at the top level. So in high tech, no doubt about it. In automotive, well, right now, if you don't incorporate your AI, well, you probably lose the race, and then you lose the customer, and you'll be in big trouble. So this type of technology is needed. And well, you can fear. I personally think that there are pros and cons, like I showed you on the previous slide, but basically you have to have under consideration and incorporate in your business. It gives you a boost, so these traditional businesses without AI, well, my prediction is they're not going to be at the top level within the next few years. Okay, so well, we have it we have the pretty much good information about what the digital transformation is, and well, how we can prevent the money waste. There are a couple of things that I would like to point it out. First and the most important is the lack of strategy. So in order to have the successful digital transformation, you have to set the strategy first. Based on the strategy, you have your long-term goals, then based on that you have the short-term goals, and then you have to control it. So there are lots of places, there are lots of companies that they are going through the digital transformation without really knowing about why they are doing this. So the money is spent there, but well, you have to be careful about how the money is spent. So you have to think the strategy, think about how you can use this money and how you can spend that to be efficient. And there are some methodologies, KPIs, things that you need to check. So you have to have a control over it. There are also legacy apps. So when you are having a business that is very well established for a couple of years back, you have to think about if you want to keep the legacy applications up and running, or you want to migrate it into something new. So please take this into your Excel sheet and then count really carefully. Over planning is also bad because well, sometimes you're stuck with the process of planning, and well, basically you have to do the first steps and then progressively going into another. So when you're stuck in planning, please just stop it and then make some decision and go. The first step is always the hardest one, but the next that follows always comes much more easier. I've told you about the lack of governance, so you have to keep in mind that you have to check, you have to have some KPIs, you have to have some things that you can see, the graphs, the things that you want to measure. And there is one thing that maybe it's sometimes overlooked. It's a public cloud. When you are a small company, you have your own server room, you have your own servers, but then you go into this cloud environment and suddenly you think your costs may be lower, but suddenly, well, you scale up and the costs become bigger. So please calculate this as well. All right, you've heard about the digital transformation and you've heard about some things that you want to incorporate when you are thinking about them. And I'm going to share with you some key elements in order to be successful. So there are 5 aspects that I want to discuss with you here. And the first one is mobilization. And well, you have to build your trust in your company. You have to have the shared responsibility and accountability. So as I mentioned before, the digital transformation is about the people, not the technology. So you have to trust your people. You have to make them accountable and responsible. And well, as you can see, it has a significant role in increasing success and reducing the failure. So when you have your risk management, you have to also look at those and mitigate those risks by those factors. The very important thing is the right investment in technical talent. So you have to have somebody who is good at analytics, so analytical officer, and a digital officer. So based on that, my view is that you have to also educate your people, and you have to make them responsible and make them aware of it, what the expectations are. And with the chief officers, digital officer and chief analytical officer, it could be even easier for you to do this. Okay, sometimes there is a lack of transparency, and those strategy and goals, sometimes they are not really related or even contradict each other. So you have to remember that when you're going through digital transformation, you have to, make yourself like unstoppable machine. So when you do the first step, the next should follow. And those factors will definitely increase the rates of your success. And of course, if the initiative is difficult to scale, you may think about the withdrawing of funding them. So please take care of the business side as well and the accounting side as well. You have to be committed. So it's no-brainer. You have to have some OPEX costs, and in order to have the successful digital transformation, you have to make this as a top priority. So it has your resources, your people have to be devoted as a top priority, as a core organizational priority. And the thing that is easy to do in the small enterprises, but it is very hard to do when we are talking about the corporate world: agility. So I know from my experience that lots of companies would like to be as agile as the small companies, and they don't know how to do it. So it's important just to read, just to hire the people that can guide you. If not, educate your people in agile methodologies, educate your people about the lean startup methods, about the lean IT as well. And definitely it would increase your success rate. So flexibility and agility are very important. Lots of big companies have struggled and still struggling about how to be huge and how to be agile at the same time. So please just think about it, how you can make your company more agile. If you build the agile teams, or maybe you go into this lean startup way of thinking, educate yourself, read books, read magazines, go in that direction. That would really help you. So the total effect of those components is, you can measure it, and well, as you can see, 45% is a huge number. So the total effect is really is going to be received well, and you can be ahead of your competitors if you proceed with those 5 elements. So that's quite of the insight, right? Don't you think? those 5 key elements and the statistics that are behind it. So if you have any comments, please share it on the chat window. Okay, so are we there yet? So what's the status of digital transformation? So this is the data from 2018, and you can clearly see that most of the businesses are still in the process of transformation. So based on the information that I've gave you, what do you think, why it takes so long? I'm going to have a sip of water, and please think for a bit. Okay, so why do you think it takes so long? As I mentioned before, it's a process. So it's nothing like we are starting it and then, next month I want to be fully digitally transformed. It's nothing like that. You have to change your mindset. You have to have your tools. You have to have the skilled workers, some advisors maybe, go into the different directions of the digital transformation, like go into the media, like Facebook, like YouTube, like other channels. So it takes time, it consumes time. So that's why those numbers are like what they are. So be prepared that it's not like within a month we will do the digital transformation. No, it won't happen that way. Okay, so I hope you now understand what is the digital transformation. And well, the IoTs is, for my perspective, is just the toys that we are using in the IT. Use the social media wisely, build the trust with your business partners, with your customers. Well, look at the environment, try to be green, educate your people, which is very important. And of course, control your budget. So don't spend your money on the things that are not very relevant, or on the technology that can be easily, today is the right technology, tomorrow it could be just obsolete. So be careful with that. You have to be careful. You have to be careful about that. So create a strategy, set up the long-term goals, short-term goals. Find the change leaders and ambassadors among your employers. So they would drive your digital transformation. They would be your ambassadors. They would, be a part of the success of the digital transformation. So, well, the most important thing also is to be agile and respond to the market needs. So sometimes the big companies just forget about what the market is really about and what the consumer wants. They are just not paying attention to the market because they want to be digitally transformed very quickly. Okay, guys, so I think that's it right now. Now we are going through the Q&A session. So if you have any questions, please just post them and I will try to answer them. Okay, so well, that's a good question. Thank you very much. Basically, my understanding is that we are going to explore new possibilities with our technology. So AI is very important. Blockchain is very important. So regarding the companies, like they have the factories, they have the plants, they have to have one environment that every layer that I have showed you talk and send the information. So basically, you can then drag the AI, and based off this information, the AI can predict the trends, predict the future. And it helps with the decision making, because sometimes it's just the flip of the coin and we're going that direction or that direction. It's very emotional, and based on the numbers, well, you don't discuss the number. I mean, you don't argue with the numbers, right? You can clearly see if it sells or if it's not, and based on that, you can set your production, send your services. So I would see the world based on the digital transformation like there will be much more involvement in artificial intelligence, and the companies would be digitally transformed just to have the better predictions of the future. Okay. Well, we have several different platforms. So we have a Facebook, YouTube channel. I mean, there are new ones as well. So aside of those political issues about this, how we use them and how the information are gathered and processed. So use the Facebook, use LinkedIn, for example, as we are using. I know that there are different channels in different part of the world that are at the top level, so you can use your local platform. If you want to go international, use the international ones. Well, thank you very much, Adam, for that question. Well, if affects industry, well, digital transformation can be disruptive. So that's the one thing that I didn't mention. And we have to be focused on to reduce this disruption as good as we can. So, for example, if you're talking about the Uber or Airbnb, so those businesses that were before that, like the cab driving industry, or I don't know, hotels like Hilton, they have established their customers, but well, there are always new ways to beat the customer. So when you're going through the digital transformation, you're finding out the new ways of finding the customers and the founding of the customer needs. So it can be disruptive for those businesses that are already in place for hundreds of years, for example. I have seen the data, like I believe the Airbnb had already beaten the Hilton regarding the revenue. So if you are in this traditional model of business, well, you probably would find yourself in trouble within the next couple of years. Okay, thank you.
This is a slide with, let me come back to this.
45%.
Okay.
Well, it's a total effect of increasing success. So when you want to have the successful digital transformation, it's a total effect of those 5 elements. This is it. This is the 45%. Okay. Are there any more questions? Yeah, it could be. Yeah, very good thought. Yes. Well, you see, the .com boom is, I think, it's like in the past right now. We have new ways to conduct business, and then digital transformation is really increase and speed up. So. I think it could be. However, well, we already seen that the .com boom ended with the .com failure, right? Because some of the companies were just on the market, on the stock exchange. They were losing. So I hope it's not, because that means that, well, somebody made a mistake by doing this digital transformation. And as a concept, it's just finding the new ways, finding the new ways of conducting business and business models. Thank you for that question. Okay, the idea into the digital marketing. Well, it's very important. It's very important, and I think the companies would be more focusing on selling online by using not the marketing platforms, but the social media. So I'm looking at the Europe right now. The trends are like every company wants to sell locally, and then at some point in time they want to extend their businesses into the huge company, and they have to sell abroad. So they are using international platforms, not only the local ones, and it is the major trend. So when you look at the Facebook, when you look at LinkedIn, it's not about social platform anymore. It's more like we are selling things. We are, I don't know, we are selling services. We are finding the customers. We are finding the business partner there. So that trend is going to last for at least a couple of years, and I think it would grow. Thank you for that question. Well, I have, and basically it would require another webinar to talk about it. But I have an experience, for example, in turning the company into more agile thinking. So based on the lean startup, based on the agile methodology, based on that, we were trying to change the mindset of the managers and of the workers who were involved in this as well. So it was important for us as those change ambassadors to have the clear goals, to have the best understanding, the best possible understanding of it, and to educate the people, because the role of the company was they want to get bigger, but they want to have this agility that helps them stay in the market and be at the top of their industry. So they have to incorporate some agility, and it's very hard to do this, especially if you are a corporation. So yep, I had this experience, and also about changing the mindset of people is very important, because sometimes the people are saying, okay, I've known this area and I am comfortable with that, but the new things, I don't want to hear about them because they are disruptive. Maybe they can bring you some good, but who knows? So the role of change ambassador is crucial here, just to make sure that all those questions are answered and all those fears are explained, because you fear something that you don't know. When you know, at least you can know how to handle it. So that was my experience. Thank you, Eric. Oh, I don't know really that. I have to look at it. Yeah, this is something I didn't look for it. I don't have the statistics for it, but if you're interested in, just write it on our Facebook, right? And we'll try to gather some data and post it there. Thank you. Yep, thank you. That's the very good question. And basically, my thought is that education is the key here. because as I said in this presentation, that you have to have the basic digital skills. You have to have the understanding of how IT works. So education is right now pretty cheap because you have different sources of it. I don't know if you have put it on the chat window, but on the YouTube channel you can find all you want. Regarding the IT, how to program, how to test applications, how to build applications, how to be a project manager, what skills do you need to develop, among other things. So, I mean, from using the computer step by step, using your mobile, to really complex things. So, I think that in schools you have to have some program that teaches, and there are some programs that teaches the new generations of how to use the technology. However, I personally think that they are teaching how to use the technology, but they are not teaching why, and they are not teaching how does it really work. So they're teaching, okay, press this button, press that button, and here you go. But, well, what is behind this? What is the logic behind this? How it is really working? I think this needs to be improved. And basically, those kind of things you can learn from YouTube, you can learn from other platforms as well. You can pay for them, of course, but they are also for free, so you can find it. Thank you. Okay, well, you have to be a skilled programmer. Basically, we are using the different technologies. We are building applications for mobile and for the web applications. So I guess that's the questions that you need to seek in our web pages. So please check them, and you will find the information there. Thank you. Okay, so I guess there are no more questions, so thank you very much. I hope you learned some important things. Thank you.
David, I believe we still have one more question. Could you please answer that?
Okay. Well, it's important. Okay, so you have to have the people behind it, right? So one person could be the driver, but I don't see in the large organization, and I don't see that would be sufficient. So I think you have to have the ambassadors in every group of your employees. So if you are at the management level, you have your ambassadors there. If you want to incorporate also, I don't know, the logistics, you have to have somebody there from the IT as well. So it is like making this from every department of your company, you should have somebody as an ambassador in order to be successful. So really the cross teams as ambassadors and as drivers. So I guess for the groups.
Okay, I guess it's time for me to take it over. Seshadri, thank you for your question. You can always check our Korea section, which is in the comments posted by my colleague. Okay, so David, thank you very, very much for this awesome for this awesome meeting, for this awesome webinar. It was great that you posted lots of questions. So cool. I think we have an evaluation link. It will be available after a webinar. I see that you're asking about certificates. A Click meeting is actually availing you to generate yourself a certificate. So I guess that's how it goes. Someone's typing. I will just wait for him or her to finish. But in the meantime, I would tell you that if you like this webinar, you can always join another one, which is coming in 2 weeks, because we're doing this quite regularly. It would be even more fun, even though I cannot imagine, because it was awesome today. So guys, when if you want to know more or you have additional questions, you can always type them on our Facebook page. We would really love your feedback as well. As I said, evaluation link will be available after the webinar ends. Okay, so still someone's typing. Once again, thank you very much. Give it 2 more seconds. Okay, no problem. See you in 2 weeks. Take care. Goodbye.